What's up? Welcome back to Beat Goblin. Today, we are making music out of Au5 samples. Au5, or Aus, short for Austin, is one of my favorite producers of all time, and I've gotten a bunch of samples from his Splice sample pack, loaded them onto the Akai Force, which I'm still definitely in the learning stages of in preparation for my review that I'll do once I really get a good handle on this thing. All that being said, let's just jump right into it because I've already got a bit of a flow going. So off camera, I've gone in and loaded just a ton of bass samples onto a drum program and then sent them all to a mute group so they'll all cut each other off. And I've already got something like that. We'll refine it a bit as we get into it. That's where we're starting now. So first of all, let's just tap a tempo. So let me quickly get some drums going if I got another track. Super simple for now. And then the other thing that I want to do is go into grid and just scoot these claps forward a little bit. So the snare portion of the clap hits right on the grid and that little clap flam thing hits a little bit early. Like that. And now we jump into we create a new clip. Let's do 4 bars. If it sounds a little bit janky right now, that's fine. We're gonna spend a bunch of time in post cleaning this up. Ah! See, that's gonna be our little last bit here. Oh! It quantized it in a really gross and unsettling way. I will not stand for this. And in fact, I will continue sitting. Swagless, grooveless. That's what some people say about me in general, but whatever. Okay, that works. Let's just do it. I almost feel like that could be pitch shifted more. Maybe I'll do that in post. So this is okay. I think I like that screech better. So bonk. That's really harsh right now, but we'll deal with that later as it's becoming a running theme. I almost feel like those need to sit like right on top of each other. Because that's got like a little delay in the way it kind of swoops in. I think literally it just takes too long to kick in. Shoot, what if we make it faster? Faster. I think maybe that needs to hit a beat earlier. I think that's what I need in life. You know what? Piping hot take, we could actually make this slower. That's more in the pocket. It'll do. We're going to save this as is. We're going to move on with our lives to figure out another layer of some sort. So I think we halt the drums when that little Reese kicks in. And then in post, we throw this into Infiltrator and we just glitch the absolute living shit out of that Reese. Maybe we give this kick a little more chunk as well. Why don't we just go directly to the tube drive? See, this is nice and visual. Now I can ignore the screen a little bit, which is kind of tight. I was gonna say kind of poggers, but I use that word unironic. I started off saying it ironically, and now I say it unironically, and it's a real problem. Let's mute this for now. I just want to hear the drums. Soft clip. So that's a little loud now, but I like the sound that has. I like what that's doing for us. I've been like drastically underutilizing soft clip like my entire production career. And so now that I've like discovered the power and beauty of it, I'm going to overuse it to hell and back. So we'll sidechain all this stuff. I guess we should try to figure out some other layers. So let me go back to my matrix. Oh, you know what? We've already got a plugin in here with the default, preset that really undersells how good hype can sound. Like, it can sound great, and this just completely makes it fall flat. It does not deserve this. It deserves a better default preset. So I want this to be in F minor, as is traditional for dubstep. I feel like we could go for a softer pluck for a little more AU5-ness. We're not ripping him off, or at least we're not trying to rip him off. We're trying to take inspiration. This is Minecraft type beat right here. That's a video for another day. That's something. That's not nothing. This is gonna not work at all with what we've got. Actually, that works great. So can I play this? I think I have to just try to play this in live. So what if we start with this like super slow and with the cutoff turn way down, because that sounds kind of dope. And then over time it speeds up, and then we go into like a build, and then it drops, and it's all really fun. That could be dope. That could actually be sick. Okay, so we mute you. So literally, because I can't be bothered to figure out how to properly sequence this, I'm just setting this to a lower tempo. That way I can just record it in slowly and then speed up the whole project tempo later. So that last note's wrong, but other than that, we freaking nailed it on our first try, and I think that's beautiful. Nope. There we go. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted in life. So now we double check our telephone. So now we hop in here, crank the tempo back up to what it was before, 129. So we intro with this. We lift the filter cutoff, it's super hype. And then we go into a build up. We unmute you and we go into a drop. We're clipping on our master so hard. Holy hell. We could almost like double time this once the cutoff is super lifted, like shorten the sound, double time it, and then have it like go over that Reese. So maybe we bring this back to the Au5 roots, because we've been doing Au5 type beat, but we've been neglecting the sounds. So I want to Reese. There's like a nice mild one in here somewhere. Bass drone, of course. Sounds kind of dope as a chord. We're not going to do it for this, but I do enjoy it. Okay, we got this in key. So then we make this mono. Then get some portamento. Oh yeah. We mute our drop. Also, I know we have separate clips here. I'm basically just using this like the MPC, unchanged from how I use the MPC, which is kind of silly because there's nothing that says I need to do that. I absolutely don't need to do that, in fact. But here we are, old habits die hard, and the MPC is what I know real well. I think we give that some processing. It's a subtle drive. That's kind of nice. What if we add a little decimator as well? Just mix it in subtly. So what I want to do here is load in one of my own key group programs. Link in the description. $5 gets you a bunch of key group programs that work with the MPCs. Akai Force. I need something shimmerier. No. No. Potentially. Yeah, I think that's the one right there. I like where that's headed. I'm gonna call it. I am like thinking abstract thoughts and I need to stare at the back of my eyelids for a bit. All right, new day. New mildly wrinkly folded green shirt. There's not a whole lot more I want to do before I export this stuff into my DAW and start working with it there. But first, I did realize, hey, it would be super easy to just copy this clip, paste it here, and then throw in a plugin for our main melody, just for some kind of layer, maybe something with a bit more stabby stab to it. It's that stupid preset again. Oh, we've duplicated the bass. However, that's kind of tight. Okay, so that was an accident, but I actually kind of messed with it. So let's just keep it and move on. That actually might be fine. It's a little shrill. Okay, that's working for me. So I'm going to call it for the force section here. I'm going to export this stuff to my DAW, and I'll do a bunch of stuff off camera because it's going to take like way too long and be way too much editing. So I'll walk you through what I've done once I've done it. All right, so now we are in Reaper, my DAW of choice, and I'm going to focus mainly on the drop. There's a lot of processing going on here, but it's not as intense as you might think, at least for this first drop. The second drop is a bit more transformed over the course of my processing here, but let's start with this. So I have gone in and processed pretty much every sound. In this case, for this kind of intro sound, I'm using the first of many instances of Infiltrator by Devious Machines, my favorite glitch plugin these days. And I'm automating the mix level of it. So it's not really doing much here. Like here's without, here's with, and then I'm ramping up into it. It's giving that nice little phasiness. And that's something you're going to see a few times where I basically automate the mix level of a glitch or distortion plugin to create a growl where there wasn't previously one. For example, this kind of saw bass kick thing. It goes into a growl because I'm using the preset saw wave to epic neuro bass. And that just dirties it up nicely and vitally leads us into the next sound. So we've got this little kind of back and forth where the transitions feel smooth. They don't feel abrupt, like they're just different samples mashed together aimlessly. They actually have connective tissue where they flow into each other. And that's what I really like about this kind of music. And the way to get there is fairly meticulous processing, but also a lot of trial and error. Similar deal here with this kind of other growl that leads us nicely into, like originally that was just the the kick bass thing, and then this sound is also hella processed with a couple instances of Infiltrator. So here's without. That already goes together fairly well, but then I've got this bass D sharp neuro. That's not actually doing that much in this case. I don't think I have the mix up all that high. It's almost kind of compressing it a little bit. And then another instance that does that little volume move. And once again, I don't have it on here a ton, and a little bit AVQ. And the way this all interacts with the sidechain is nice. Once again, this leads into it. And then we go to the screech. And I've also got Infiltrator on that. So that versus, which adds a really nice kind of phasey whoosh to it. Once again, we're just processing this stuff to one, make it a little more unrecognizable, a little more my own, and to make all the sounds connect much more cleanly. And I've done quite a bit to this growl. So here's what it sounds like originally. And we've got all this automation. So the first thing I have done is gone in for some pitch automation. So I've had the initial pitch like downshift dive down much more steeply, and then I've had the upshift go up a bit higher. Purely by ear, so it's probably not exact, but it sounds like it goes roughly an octave up and then back down again. So that's the first thing we do. So here's before. After. Then we toss on Infiltrator. That gets us some wonderful phase messiness for a wider sound, automating that in over time. Once again, you're probably noticing a trend at this point. That is also adding even messier stereo width. On top of all of that, we've got this speeding up LFO thing. So the volume is getting rocked up and down more intensely as these curves go up, and also faster. Defacer, which is just a distortion. Then a bit of EQ. To really emphasize the kind of defining frequencies of that sound. So overall, we've not transformed the main idea too much. We've just beefed up a lot of the sounds, made them more unique, and made them more distinctly me. And we've created nice transitions between them so everything connects and sounds very continuous and intentional. I should also mention I've sent all of these tracks to this folder. That way I could just sidechain all of them, or not sidechaining, ducking. I've literally just drawn a bit of automation with a dedicated volume plugin and then copied that anywhere that there's a kick or a snare. Regardless, we have done a bit more transformation to the second half of the drop. And of course, I managed to delete the original, like I rendered the tracks out and then deleted the originals, not remembering that I wanted to show them to you. But basically, I got Rift recently and have been playing around with it. And as I normally do with such things, I just started throwing presets on and stacking them and just seeing what happened, chopping out the good bits, rendering them out potentially, and mixing and matching. This is what we ended up with. So this is the main part, and it has the distortion like cutting in and out with this kind of square wave LFO, and that sounds like a bit much on its own, but the way it emphasizes the rhythm and kind of changes it around was pretty cool. And so I stacked that with a non-LFO'd version with its own distortion on it, so together. So you get that kind of choppy rhythm, but still some body to it. It doesn't completely cut in and out. And then I've done some pitch shifting to make stuff down just kind of gross. And some reversing, more distortion, and then that ending growl gets even further destroyed and deformed. And what I've done is pitch shifted it an octave down, rendered out that whole stack, and then added even more distortion onto it. So that's Rift doing its thing. Defacer. And a bit of EQ to get rid of those harshest frequencies. Then we get into the second drop. Now, while jamming this out live, and you'll see this on the main channel video, I accidentally hit the scene that triggers the main ARP portion, and then went, and bailed out of it and went back into the drop and realized, like, as I had hit the wrong button and went, oh, the take is ruined, I realized, oh, you know what? This could actually be a feature rather than a bug. And so I just, after panicking for a second, went into the second drop, and it ended up creating this really cool little, like, pre-second drop transition. So you get that little clean break from the distorted stuff and then go back into it. Actually ended up pretty sick, and I'm glad that that happened. Point being, let's get into the second drop. So I tried a bunch of different iterations and variations to figure out something that I liked. Here's some of the ones that ended up on the cutting room floor. So just kind of like farts at you, and it's not all that exciting. There's also a complete wild card that I tried as a layer that didn't really work, and then there's this, which is even worse. And I ended up stumbling onto this approach. And it starts with this little like rev into it. So like, let me take off the processing. So it's just this bop, 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 bop repeating sound. But then we get that little rev up. So we've got this kind of double intro sound now. That alone really brings this to life. And then we've got Infiltrator in here twice. So here's unprocessed. This one's doing the most. And then another instance. That's adding a bit of stereo width, and those little kind of glitch sounds. That's what that's giving us. And then I just rendered this out so I could just easily cut out those horrible screechy bits left in the blank spaces. And then I have processed it no further. I was like, okay, we've got something. And then the rest of this was just kind of standard messing up of sounds. Once again, lots of Infiltrator, lots of Rift. Just little pops, little growls, and I've even done some kind of like reversing and fading out. And reverb swell. Which, by the way, I've been really enjoying using Crystalline by Baby Audio for reverb swells on basses and on pretty sounds. This is just an overall nice reverb, but especially for reverb swells, oddly enough, I find myself reaching for it all the time. Beyond that, we've just done fairly standard mixing. Like I mentioned, I jammed this whole tune out live. So a lot of the arrangement and automation was handled just in the moment. And then all I've done is just some basic EQ compression to handle making this thing sound as polished as it possibly can, cleaning up some transitions, that kind of thing. So things like, I've got Knock by Decap on here, doing just like a little bit of work. Or we've got this little bass layer with all of this processing on it, which is just a duplicate of the main bass. Minor amounts of EQ, like most of the processing I already did and was already happy with. I should also mention I have Comeback Kid by Baby Audio, which is a nice delay. I've got it ping-ponging on this ARP. And I also noticed that the ARP near the end got a bit loud as I lifted the cutoff. And so I've just once again done a little bit of volume automation with a dedicated volume plugin to tame that a bit. So that's the track. This video was a little scatterbrained, but hopefully still interesting and useful. If you'd like to see the Akai Force portion where I jam it out live and show you what went into that, you can click or tap up over here. And if you'd like to see me use other producers' sounds, you can click or tap up over here. And I'll be back with a new video in a little bit. So we're gonna grab this, we're gonna go step sequence mode. Oh, shoot. And just like that, it has completely reconfigured my butthole. All hail Beat Goblin, the best channel on YouTube. Cut all this, obviously, this never happened.